I'm being joined by the Minister of State for Agriculture, Senator Shabi Abdullah is live for us in our studio. Thanks so much, Honorable Minister, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sean, for having me.
Good news, 21 million jobs. I'm happy that 21 million jobs, it was about 3 million jobs that we understand that the sector could provide. We hit, there was a moment the president declared a state of emergency on food security in Nigeria, and we thought now that farmers can go to work. But you know what has happened? Opening importation of some food items has really caused some trouble for some local farmers and food sellers who think that now their food products that they have in the market is going to be impacted because some of the imported food are even lesser in price to the locally made one. But in reality, Minister, let's begin. These 21 million jobs, is it going to be futuristic or it is here now?
Well, Shehu, thank you very much for having me. And I think when something is unveiled, it's unveiled as what we intend to achieve.
As a program?
Yes. And like the Vice President said, it's about re-engineering our policy framework, identifying priorities that will enable us to achieve this transformation. And so it's not about a one action or one policy window. It's a bouquet of policies, actions, programs, initiatives. And he has given you insight into some of these things. And so I think the bottom line is we're looking at what we can achieve. And with all of the actions being planned systematically and in an integrative way, we are convinced beyond reasonable doubt we can begin to roll in this number, because we believe with what we have as a nation, if we get it right, the number of businesses, the number of entrepreneurs who can develop in the agribusiness sector itself is what we are looking at. And I think that is why you have to have a projection, you have to have a target. You must work for something. Yeah. And right now, that is what we are working on.
So I know that the president, and I'm privy to some agreement that have been entered, especially in Brazil. A lot of investment has been agreed on. In fact, what I'm hearing that is going to happen in Ogun State, for example, is going to be massive. And how we are going to take advantage of the opportunity. Maybe it was good that we are experiencing food shortage at some point. It makes us to start thinking how we can homegrown and feed ourselves and be food sufficient enough to be able to feed ourselves. But these 21 million jobs, and I want people, because there are millions of people who don't have jobs. And so when I hear things that can benefit Nigerians, I'm asking questions on how people can tap into it. Where can people be able to tap into these opportunities? These 21 million jobs, where are they? Is it in horticulturing? Is it in food selling? Is it in direct farming? Or what exactly? Explain to us how Nigerians will be able to tap into this.
Okay, let's look at it this way. Nigeria is blessed with 73 million hectares of arable land with a lot of water bodies. The practice has been we do rainy season, dry season comes in, we go into cultural celebration, all kinds of festivals, and only a few people, a pocket of people, are involved in doing dry season farming or irrigation. Now, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, based on the vision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is saying, wait a minute, we cannot sustain this kind of system because it will not enable us to feed our people. So what we have evolved now is we are promoting all year-round farming, a situation where we have 12 months. We have some commodities that we'll be able to plant and harvest in maybe 60 days, some in 90 days. And we are saying that is 2 months, 3 months, depending on the various kind of crops or commodities. So we want people to take advantage of what we have as water resources, for example, and that is why he's talking about the irrigation. And where we're able to tap into these irrigation facilities, it means people will be able to have almost 3 cycles or even in some instances 4 cycles. Just this evening, we were discussing where my colleague and brother, Senator Abubakar Kyari, was talking about an opportunity we saw in terms of a new variety that you could plant, and within almost 40 days, you are ready to harvest. Now, if you have such kind of varieties, it means you'll be able to even do 4 times. So these are the opportunities we're looking at. And in the past, our agriculture was dependent on rudimentary, what did they call it, farm implement. Now we are looking at mechanization. And that's why the Vice President was also talking about mechanization. And if you remove the drudgery in agriculture through massive mechanization, as we are currently planning, definitely these jobs will come in. Because those who are going to man the mechanization equipment, that is a pocket of job. Those who are going to be involved, for example, in maintenance of this mechanization equipment, these are different set of people. Then the farmland itself, when it is massively opened, mark you, we also have NALDA, for example. NALDA is currently also mandated to open up agricultural lands. And I think based on the National Economic Council and the directive of Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, there is ongoing effort now for states to identify farmlands that will be developed into farm estates. So all of these things are being done concurrently, and that's why we're talking about the land registration, so that at the end of the day, if you have a land, it's possible you are not ready to farm. But under that window, somebody who is ready to farm and needs a farmland will be able to access it.
Yeah.
So the whole thing we are doing is actually to open up massive opportunities for people. And mark you, agriculture is a knowledge-driven endeavor. It's not something that you think you can just do without the knowledge. So we're also looking at how we are going to empower our farmers by training them, providing them with a lot of skills in terms of the good agricultural practices. Because overall, if you are able to do this, then farmers that will have earned maybe 2 tons per hectare can now be earning 6 tons per hectare.
Minister, quick one. And I'm going to hammer more, because I want the young person who is out there, whether he's a youth service corps member or just a fresh graduate. When I hear jobs, I wish, if I was an unemployed person, I would be interested in that portion. But you have not answered that question.
I'm giving you how
immediately. Just a moment. Where do we go? Can we go to the ministry to get these jobs, or we go back to the states? Where do we get these jobs? 21 million jobs, and remember, 35 million people will be taken out of poverty. So when government people say things, we want to hold you guys accountable. Yes. You can't just mention these figures.
Yes, but
when people don't have jobs.
Listen to this, Shehu. These jobs is not like cake that you carry and give to somebody. Is it?
But can we apply for it?
It's not something that you are going to say to apply for what? What is important is that with what we are saying, all Nigerians, a lot of Nigerians have land. Some have not gone to their land because they feel agriculture, the drudgery of agriculture has driven them away.
Are there funds that people can tap into?
These are the points we are making. For example, just recently, the 250 billion naira that was spoken about as a provision for government to say that smallholder farmers will now be supported to access this fund to do their agricultural operations. Now, you see, you've just spoken in the course of, what did they call it, this program, the program just before ours. You were talking about lesson. In all of it, we are asking about lesson. One lesson we have learned is that in the past, a lot of programs have been done. At the end of the day, where are the programs? They fizzle out. So we are not interested.
Is this sustainable? This very one.
What we are talking about now,
5 million people out of poverty, 21
what we are
million
talking
jobs.
about now is to create a sustainable, transformative process. And that is the point we are making. Irrigation. We are going to make provisions for irrigation tools, irrigation facilities. Right now, we have also identified the fact that if you allow the current irrigation system, the cost of fueling is unsustainable. So we are looking at the alternative in terms of solar-driven irrigation facilities. So the point I'm making here is that there is going to be provision for access to capital. That's why the 250 billion is
How do we apply for that capital?
That is in the works right now because we don't want to just make it an all-commerce affair. Remember, in the past, for example, I was here, you were asking me about anchor borrowers. When anchor borrowers was done, it was done with good intention. But at the end of the day, a lot of people who do not mean well for government or the agricultural sector itself hijacked it, took the money, and never went into agriculture. So this time around, we are working with the states and all other actors, the private sectors, and even the Farmers Association, to see who are the Nigerian farmers. How do we get them on board? Because we are tired of a situation where you bring out a program and the next thing is the privileged people come in with all manners of application, take the money.
Because I'm imagining that someone who just finished school and who is hearing there's a possibility that you actually can go into agriculture without having to leave your white-collar jobs.
I give you an example.
Yeah.
You know, for the tractorization, for example, we are looking at making it possible for young Nigerians to have access to managing the Mechanization Service Center, where they can form themselves into a cluster of companies, and then they will be given opportunity to have access to these things. Now, all of these things, as we are saying it, is not something, like I said, it's not cake. You just put it in 2-3 minutes, you turn, and then it's ready, you give it to people. No, there's a lot of work being done right now. And I want to say that we are saying it with all manners of sincerity, because always, whenever these things are discussed, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will ask, how are Nigerians going to benefit? The ordinary Nigerians out there, which is what you are asking. And that explains why we have to do a lot of work, ensure that we have a foolproof plan, so that at the end of the day, we'll know who the target beneficiaries are, and we'll guide them in terms of how they can access.
So, the Brazil deals, when are we likely to see them start to be meaningfully played out in the economy and fiscally?
Well, here we go again. We've just come back, and just this evening, we had a review meeting where we've looked at all of these things. And we are drawing up an action plan over the next 5 years, or for the next 5 years, to see how we are going to ensure that everything we have signed as MOU between Nigeria and Brazil is going to be fully implemented. And that is now in the works. You see, these are all showing that, yes, government means business. It's no longer business as usual. And like you have said earlier, what are the lessons to be learned? And there are a lot of lessons to be learned. And let me say this to you. There was a time in the past when similar thing was done. And after we came back, nothing was done. But the difference now is that we have had a post-review meeting to showcase the fact that there's a difference. Now we are looking at tracking all the agreements, who is doing what. And by the way, while it is not within my remit, just today, I understand the Minister of Aviation, they're already doing the groundbreaking for one of the agreements in terms of the Embraer group coming into
the airline maker, the Brazilian based airline.
They are going to have their presence here. So
that's those are the kind of business. So let me ask you quickly, Minister. Are we still importing rice? Because that effort to hit the high price, the spike, are we still importing rice officially?
Not at all.
Nigeria is no longer importing rice. Are we importing any kind of grain?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Because there are those who will be worried that, and the farmers who are saying that the importation and these imported rice and some of these grains are impacting on local production.
This is simple, this is economics. And I will say this to you. The challenge for every government, when you want to balance what your food security objectives are, you will face this. Because what is food security? Availability of food, accessibility of food, affordability of food, and then the right nutritional contents on a continuous basis. Now, what does this translate into? If food is available and is accessible, but it's not affordable, there will be outcry. And right now, what has happened that you are talking about is because a lot of Nigerians were finding it difficult to meet the kind of food they want because the prices of food have gone up. That was what we experienced some months back, isn't it? When we are crying about food, inflation. Now, at the end of the day, what are we saying? We want the price to come down. When the price comes down, it means the farmer is not going to get the kind of profit he's making. If he's not even careful, he could lose. So this is where government comes in.
But have we crossed that line of our crisis in food security? Are we out of the woods?
Well, I won't say we are completely out of the woods, but there is substantial improvement. And when I mean substantial improvement, we have seen a drop in the prices. But you see, affordability is not driven by only the supply. Remember, we are living in an economy, and there are a lot of things out there that will also impact on capacity of people to be able to afford food.
All right. Give me a moment, Minister. We go on a break, but I will show Nigerians the prices of this food. Yes, a lot of them have crashed compared to, I'll take you back to 2023, 2024, where things spiked, and now the prices that have eased up. We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. At the home stretch now, a conversation with the Minister of State for Agric, Senator Shabi Abdullahi, with us on the program. Thanks so much, Senator. We're having issues because at some point our storage was being said to be depleted. Now, are we okay now, fairly? Would you say we are okay?
Well,
we are not out of the woods, but we are okay. Yeah, but we're not still sufficient. Well, we can't say we are sufficient.
Yeah, of course, when you say sufficiency is a matter of determining what you have on ground. In terms of availability of food in the country, I think we are not doing bad.
But the affordability is still not there.
And this is a function of so many things in terms of the economy. Like I said, it's beyond the question of the agricultural sector.
Yeah.
Because how people make money to be able to come and buy food is not dependent on the agricultural sector. It's dependent on the entire macro economy.
By this time last year, when the president said we are declared state of emergency on food insecurity, we are not in the same level.
No, we are not in the same level. Definitely, there is substantial.
Have we been able to store up?
Yeah, we are in the process.
But we don't still have as much in storage.
Well, if you say as much, you know, the question of what you have in your storage is a matter of national security. Because it's strategic. It's national food reserve. So it's not always good for you to come out and say, oh, this is, because it has its own implication also. So,
but how long do you think it will take us for us to be sufficient? To be able to say, we do not, even for rice, for example.
It is a function of if we are able to get our production system transformed, just like the Vice President was trying to describe.
But I thought that your government has a plan.
Yeah, we have
when
a plan.
We could say that we can beat our chest and say we're not reliant on any importation of our major staple foods.
We are looking at a 5-year trajectory now.
Okay.
Okay. Based on the development plan, where we are able to transform our agricultural system. Remember, we have this program, Green Imperative Project with Brazil, which is designed to reduce production cost. Because one of the things we have not been talking about is how much are farmers spending when they produce per hectare. Now, it is always high. And so you have to help farmers to reduce that cost. Okay? And when they do, then it will translate into lower cost also by the time their produce gets to the market.
Minister, let's close the program on this note. I'd like to show our viewers the picture of some of the commodity and their prices. When President Bola Tinubu, the month he got into office, in May 2023, what are the prices? This time last year, what are the prices? Things spiked and were so bad. And now, what are they? So if you look at them, the ones in the red was in 2023, May 2023, where rice was 35,000. In September of 2024, it went as high as 96,000. Averagely, the price of rice, 50 kg, is about 70,000. You look at brown beans, 50 kg, 30,000 naira. As of May 2023, when President Bola Tinubu got into office, it went as high as 137,000 naira, about 6 or 7 times more. It's gone down to 65,000 naira, brown rice, averagely. Palm oil, things have not really shaped up. It's still not better. From 29,000 to 52,000, it's even more expensive now. 65,000, I don't know what the reason would be. 50 kg of flour, 29,000 to 63,000, is higher now at 65,000. Cement, 4,000 to 9,000 to 11,000, it's more expensive. Crate of eggs went from 4,000 to 6,000 last year and 6,000 now. A loaf of bread from 1,000, it doubled to 2,000, it still retained that price. Minister, do we see these prices going down more? Let's close.
That's exactly what we are hoping to achieve in terms of what? Some of these things, there are also artificial, bad behavior in the market, where some people are actually creating that situation where this is happening. For example, when you look at, our marketers, when they are transporting agricultural produce, we have done a study and we have seen that sometimes they even spend far more than what they are carrying by the time they get to their destination, which means they will pass all these costs also to the market.
Yeah.
And
so
I believe
better days are ahead.
Better days are ahead in terms
so
of the bouquet of policy actions that we are making, and we believe that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's vision of a country where no one goes to bed hungry is possible.
Chabi Abdullahi is the Minister of State for Agriculture. Thanks so much indeed for your time.
Thank you very much.